Hi, my name is Wes Page. I recently took my video camera to all 10 Modesto fire stations to see what it's like to be a firefighter. I would like to share some of what I learned with you, but first I would like to thank the Modesto Fire Department for bringing such a great help in showing me around. Every Monday, all the fire stations inspect, set up, and test all their equipment so they can be sure it is ready and in good working order when it is needed. The firefighters were nice enough to let me climb onto Truck 75 and stand at the base of the ladder. Captain Don Ridge explained the truck's equipment.
Basically, we have the truck set up. This side is all set up for any type of rescue work that we might have to do, whether it be a building collapse. We have large jacks and airbags we can use to lift very heavy objects. We go to vehicle wrecks. We have the hearse tool, air chisels, and other devices we can use to extricate people from vehicles. And then we also carry cribbing, and we use that to stabilize like overturned vehicles.
Okay, yeah.
To make the vehicle safe for us to make access so it don't cause any more injuries or make the thing any worse. And we also carry a large supply of ropes ranging anywhere from 100 to 300 feet. And if we have somebody who was, for example, at doctor's hospitals doing some construction, where the guy on the crane had a problem, we'd have to be able to get him down, so we carry that. But again, this whole side is set up for rescue work, and the other side of the truck is set up for fires. And that's where we carry all of our chainsaw equipment, our salvage equipment to go into a house and cover the people's possessions with plastic tarps so they don't get any water damage. And our equipment that we use to ventilate roofs, whether it be axes or chainsaws, different types of cutting saws for metal roll-up doors. We have a saw particularly for that. So the other side is set up for strictly firefighting. The department our size, guys have to be familiar with all the equipment. We aren't so big like Chicago or something like that, where a guy may work on this truck for 10 or 15 years. That's the only rig he works on. We have to be pretty well versed in all the equipment, so we have it set up this way so that people who are working here on an overtime day or if somebody is sick, they know how it's set up. It's easy enough to find the equipment so they can get to it and use it expediently. We're carrying 12 spare bottles for our breathing apparatus. And all these different types of rescue ropes that we use, anywhere from 100 to 300 feet. We have a kit here called a Telfer kit, and it has all the equipment that goes with the ropes, whether it be carabiners, 8 plates, Gibbs ascenders, things that you use to make your rope systems work for lifting people up or for rappelling down.
Yeah.
We have all that equipment. There's our cribbing compartment. Like I said, we use that to stabilize, for example, an overturned vehicle, or if someone's working on their car and the jack slips out. So we need to stabilize the vehicle before we try and lift it so it doesn't lift and tilt anymore, or compound the person's injuries. This one here is a pretty nice setup. It's called the hearse tool, or the jaws of life.
Okay,
exactly.
yeah.
So you have a power unit, which supplies power to the hydraulic pump, which is down here, and the pump is what gives the tool its power. And here is what you call the spreader unit, and this is what you use to pop doors open and such. Back behind it, we have 3 more pieces. One of them is called the shears, and it's like a giant pair of metal clippers, and they work kind of like crab claws would, similarly, and they come through and they cut. Very cool. They're really good for cutting like the windshield post. If we need to peel the top of the car back, this right here will just take and slice that. And then we have, this is the small one, but it's just basically a spreader. And it's good for pushing steering wheels up out of people's laps, or pushing the seat back away from the front of the dash. You know, the possibilities of the ways you can use this are endless, only controlled by your imagination.
Then
you could have a heavy piece of machinery fall on a guy, or we've had a guy where it was a box compactor at one of the stores, and they used a lot of the tools here. He went in there to get some cardboard that had gotten caught in there, and he was trying to get it. Well, the thing caught his arm and took his arm machine. And it's a series of rollers, so they used a lot of this stuff was used to get him out of that machinery.
Yeah.
I'd say 90%, 70% of the stuff we use is for automobiles. These are similar to the hearse tool, just on a much smaller scale. They work by hand pumps. They're called wedges and spreaders. And a lot of times you may have multiple victims. The hearse tool will go to the worst area.
Yeah.
And you can use these to do some small work. These will pop a car door just fine.
Right. Yeah.
The nice thing about these too is that you get in a real delicate area. These are a lot easier for us to manipulate. And since they aren't as powerful, it's a lot more sensitive, so we can manipulate these in an area the person may be really tightly pinned. Different types of lift jacks, floor jacks, high lift jacks, come-alongs, fire extinguishers that we carry, toolbox. We have a generator on the rig, and on either side, you can pull this cord reel line, and it gives you 200 feet of electrical line. You go to a house and there's been a fire, you probably have killed the power.
Right.
And so you need to go in there and make sure when you're overhauling the house to make sure all the fire's out or take care of their people's possessions. Just walk this right in the house. We have our own power unit over there. We have backboards, a scoop stretcher, and this is called the Stokes basket. And this is for taking people who are possibly on the top of a roof or maybe down on a manhole cover. You need to package people up. You can carry them in this. And this is what we use to hook onto it, to sling it, to go off the rope system. And we can take this ladder and set it out and use the ladder as a stationary object to run our ropes off of. These are the airbags. They come in anywhere from this real small size here to a real large one. And those basically work off our air tanks that we wear. We have a device that hooks up to that. We can run the hose to the area, and we just open the bottle. It has a regulator that brings the pressure down, inflates the bag. And we have air chisels. They used to cut maybe sheet metal to get into the car, the trunk. And also we have pneumatic tools. Sometimes it's not plausible to take and rip the car apart. You need to unbolt things to get to people. So we have air impact wrenches because they're just so much quicker. This is it's a truck. And a truck not only carries the large aerial ladder you see on top, which goes 110 feet, we also need to carry a lot of ground ladders that we can take and move to different parts of the building. So this here is our ground ladder supply. Go anywhere from a 16-foot straight ladder to a 40-foot extension, 35-foot extension, 228s. Got an A-frame type ladder. This rig doesn't run first out on medical calls, but we do take some. If we're in the area and a call comes in, of course, if I'm closer, I'm going to take the call just as better service to the public. Yeah. So we carry the same medical equipment that an engine does. Basically, it's a first aid kit, resuscitator equipment, emergency childbirth equipment, and trauma equipment. So we have all that we carry. You come back in here, you've got your MSAs, your spare bottles. The same thing here. Then in here is what we call, it's all of our salvage equipment. And it's basically just very large plastic tarps. Some of them are disposable that when we go, we just leave at the scene. And these other ones, we use those and we have to come back and get them.
Yeah.
At Station 8, Captain John Greenstreet talked about their special airport firefighting equipment.
Like I say, most of the fires that we're going to have, true airport fires, are going to be flat fuel fires. We used to have hoods that we wore that had gold on the facepiece, and I can show you one of those. They used gold because it reflects 100% of the heat. We don't use them any longer, and the reason for that is they are so hot, so cumbersome, that as soon as the fire's out, the hoods are on the engine and the guy's got no head protection. So we now use our structural hoods with just an aluminum shroud, and it works out a lot better. More comfortable, and we have better impact protection on our heads. The helmets they used in those hoods were like the cannery workers wear.
Okay.
We also out here have Jaws of Life. That's the first set the department had, and it was bought with that rig and this station by the FAA. And that K-12 saw there, we have saws like that on both of our ladder trucks. The difference is that the blade on that one is a bigger blade. It's a diamond blade, which is what it takes for cutting, making a hole in the beryllium on the side of an aircraft big enough to get somebody out of. That's $610 just for the blade. We don't have any spares. We only have the one. This is tied into the county communication center and runs off their big computer down there. When they dispatch us, we get a printout on the printer. We get the tones, and then we get a printout on the printer that gives us all the details. In addition to, we get the audio over the station speakers after they give the tones. And we do a variety of these. One of the things that comes in handy for me as resource officer, I can call up the unit status and it will tell me where all of our units, all the Modesto Fire units are. What is available and what's not available. 20, which is the rig down south of the river, is on a grass fire right now. This is outside the city here. All of this along Yosemite is in the city. And there's a little shopping center up here that's in the city. All of this is in the city. The park, the airport, of course, over on Finch Road where the dog pound is, that's all in the city. All of that will be handled by what will be Engine 28, which would be in this station. Plus, they're going to use us to back up Engine 23 in part of their territory. The rest of their territory, other engines will be able to get there quicker than Engine 28, and it's all predicated on response times. Who can get there quickest?
Captain Greenstreet talked about the airport crash truck.
These things are built to operate in everything from the desert over there in Desert Storm to the air bases in Alaska and the tundra. All they do really is change tires on them. It's a very, very complicated machine. All of the controls on it are air over hydraulic, and some of them are electric. So it's a mechanic's nightmare. It's an operator's dream. It's simple to operate. The other rigs are a little more complicated to operate, but they're also not as complicated to maintain. This thing is built, like I say, everything about it is built with strictly one thing in mind. They're not built for pretty. They're not really built to operate on the road. The windows are all double windows to shield us from the heat. There are, in addition to windshield washers, there are foam nozzles so that you can foam the windows as well as put the foam on the fire. It has under truck nozzles in case the fire This thing is built to fight a large fuel fire. And if it starts to flow under you, it's got foam nozzles underneath it. They used to use those also to foam runways, but we don't do that anymore, especially not on an airport like this where we only have one vehicle.
The next day, I heard over my scanner an alert 2, which means a plane down. This particular plane had a landing gear problem. Fortunately, the plane landed safely. The crash truck followed the plane just as a precaution. Once everyone was sure that there was no problem, everyone returned. Firefighter Brian Roof explains the equipment on engine 25.
3-inch hose, 1.5 inch, 1.75 inch. Use these as supply lines, or if you have a large fire, you can go ahead and put nozzles on these 3-inch hoses. That's a couple-man operation. These 1.5s are what we generally use on an interior attack. We set those at 95 gallons per minute. So they're nice. Some departments use a little bit bigger hose to go inside. What we found is they're nice and small. Just 95 gallons a minute is enough water. Ideally, you don't want to drench the entire room.
Brian gave me a tour of the inside of Station 5. Station 5 does all the annual hose testing for all Modesto fire stations. Wet hoses are hung in the tower to dry.
It's just, once you get those things, once you purchase them, it's a lot easier to store them and keep a hold of them.
Yeah.
Because our frontline apparatus do break down, they have the regular maintenance and stuff,
Sure.
so what'll happen, for example, 25 goes out of service for whatever reason, mechanical problem or a scheduled maintenance, we'll go on ahead and switch over our personal gear onto this one, and this will be a first out piece of apparatus again.
friend and neighbor, Captain Vince Basulto, gave me some good fire safety tips.
I'd like to encourage people to practice exit drills in the home. I think all children who go to school get to practice exit drills in the school. You know what a fire drill is and know exactly what to do when there's an alarm going off. But at home, they don't get the same chance. So I would like the adults, the parents, to take the children and discuss what an exit fire drill is. Show them that there is two ways out of every room. Every room in your house should have two ways out, either a bedroom, window, or through your regular door. And then I would like for you guys to take the home, put a drawing of it, look at it, and then decide which way you're going to go in case there's a fire, and then practice it. Have a meeting place out front so that when the engine companies show up, somebody there, an adult, can tell us who is out and who isn't. And if you account for everybody, then our priority becomes putting the fire out. If you can't account for everybody, then our priority would be to find that individual, that child. Secondly, I would like for you guys to go out to across the street and look at your home, and can you easily read the address, the house numbers on your home? If you can't do that, go out there and invest some money, probably $3 to $5, and put a good address on your front door so that we pull up in the middle of the night and we're easy to read the house numbers and go in there a lot faster. Before 1975, before smoke detectors were part of the law in the construction business, about 12,600 people a year would die due to fires and smoke. After they installed smoke detectors, the fire deaths have dropped drastically. Last year, there was approximately 4,300 people died in smoke and fires. So we have cut fire deaths through the smoke detectors, I believe, drastically. But it's starting to climb again, and I think what is occurring is that people are forgetting to service those smoke detectors, are forgetting that they need to replace batteries if they're battery operated. So do yourself a favor, and two basic operations you can do is, number one, if it's a battery operated detector, and buy some batteries and replace the batteries on your smoke detector. And secondly, take a vacuum and vacuum out the smoke detector once a year, twice a year, so that no spider webs or little bugs or whatever get in there and give you false alarms, or it doesn't go off when you really want it to.
1800 hour radio check, station 1.
Station 1, loud and clear.
Station 2.
Station 2, loud and clear.
Station 3.
Station 3 is loud and clear.
Station 4.
Station 4 is loud and clear.
Station 5.
5.
Station 6.
6, loud and clear.
Station 7.
Station 7, loud and clear.
Station 8.
Station 8.
Station 9.
9, loud and clear.
Station 10.
10 is loud and clear.